Right, officially 9:32. Why don't we call the meeting to order? So, number one, welcome. Happy New Year to all. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. And number two, thank you for voting me in at the last meeting, become the chairman of the and apologize for not attending. I had a little confusion on timing and that sort of thing. So, but I'm here today, so we'll move forward. So, with that, what I'd like to do is review. Are there any questions on the previous meeting minutes? If not, I'd like to. Well, right now we do have a forum, so right now I'd like to go ahead and anybody have a motion to approve the minutes?
I do.
Second. All right. So Kate approved the motion and Jim seconded. So anybody all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So moved. All right. So, yeah.
I was interested. Feel delegates here.
Sure.
So
Yep.
she gives them.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
So the urban forest master plan has essentially been completed. I say essentially, it's going through a review process right now. The city is trying analysis, get the analysis done in by a group called 3%. That time we had our canopy measured 48.1%. City. So we got that as from our benchmark. I've actually seen the image of that analysis. Something out here, not too bad. So it's being finalized. I actually have a meeting this week. I'm asking if they can hear. One that they just did, sense of what the change is, and also underserved. But to get back to the urban forest master plan.
Let me ask a quick question. You're doing a change analysis. Who's actually doing the current analysis?
That would be the city's IT.
So are they using the exact methodology that?
And I asked that exact question and invited to a meeting. Something this one.
Okay, yeah, I have a very strong interest in addition to that. I'm not volunteering anything, it's just raising the question and make sure it's addressed. But the change analysis is useless unless the methodology is exactly the same as the.
Of course, master plan has a group of tree conditions. Sounds to me a little bit more, but I expected a draft to come to this group to review next month. There was meeting now, I'm not sure on time, but we'll get a review of that report for Stein might have some recognition.
Well, thanks, Craig. All right. Over the past week or so, the sent an email from Craig Snow, who sent it in through the Arboretum about a heritage tree and tree awards. As a result of that, the question comes up as far as, do we have a list of previous applicants for any of the tree awards, or is there a list for that, or if there is a list, do we have who was approved and who wasn't, or not approval, or?
Okay, I can give you the background. Okay, mine's on now. Yeah, I can give you the background on that. Well, Craig Snow in particular, he submitted an application years ago, and I evaluated the tree, and it felt that it didn't meet our assessment requirements at that point, but he has submitted a new application. So we will be conducting another assessment. I also have one other recent new application. So I've got two that we'll be working on. There were 3 trees that were approved a couple years ago, and they're not yet in the database. So Craig mentioned someone in the city IT that could do that. So I will follow up with Craig and get those into the database. Several months ago, Alana and Kathy agreed to serve as a committee on the Heritage Tree Program. So what I'd like to do is work with them on the measurements on these 2 and then turn it over to them. Toward that end, I have purchased a Chinese-made clinometer, which is the instrument, more accurate instrument that foresters typically use for measuring tree heights. This one was $48, and I was actually impressed with the quality because it's made from a solid block of aluminum. The standard clinometer that foresters have used for decades and decades and decades is made by Sunto, which is a Finnish company that makes precision measuring equipment, and the current price of the Sunto clinometer is $195. So I decided I wouldn't. But I do have a personal Sunto, so I'm going to test this one against that one too and ensure that it is accurate. And then I can schedule visits to both of these with Alana and Kathy, and we can work on them learning how to make the measurements and eventually get this turned over to them. So that's where we are right now. 3 that need to be added to the database, and then 2 new ones. I mentioned to Craig, I did receive an application several months ago from a fellow who said he had a very, very large southern magnolia in his yard, and he submitted an application, but he was a renter. And I emailed him, that you'll have to talk to the owner, because the owner will have to actually submit the application and give us permission to visit. And he never did contact me back. So I'm assuming the owner didn't want to follow through. But it was a pretty nice southern magnolia. I drove by and looked at it from the street. So basically trying to get the Heritage Tree Program back on track.
Okay, great.
This is Kathy. While we're speaking about the Heritage Tree, will you send me the information so I can go ahead and get started on that tree certificate?
Well, what I'd like to do is one of the heritage trees that approved last year was on the property of the Bargain Box, and the Bargain Box manager is a very close friend of mine. And I had a sign made at Rags to put around that tree occasionally. And I've got a standard format for that, and I'll put together something for the certificate as well, so that y'all have that, can go forward with it.
Right. If you'll just send me something, then I can create something that we can use standard from here on out.
All right, will do.
Thank you.
Welcome, Connie. All right.
I'm here. I'm sorry, but I didn't hear. I could not tell whether the meeting had started or not until you got to the Heritage Tree.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We didn't realize the microphones weren't on.
Okay, well, I have no idea what happened to him. So,
Well, we approved the minutes, and then we haven't talked about any of the other items.
okay,
So the first item on our agenda that we've talked about is just the Heritage Tree and Tree Awards.
Thank
The other items, we're waiting for Sally to join us, if she's joining us, so that we can talk about them. So next item on the agenda is over to Jim on the Eden Village landscaping.
I met Sean Hayes, who is the executive director of Eden Village, at an event this past summer, and introduced myself and told him about my background and offered to help with tree issues as Eden Village develops. And he said he would contact me. Well, he did contact me in late December, and I met with him to talk about, you know, how I might help with tree selection and tree planting and so forth. And Connie and I agreed to work together on this. Dan Schmidt, who is a very, very active volunteer with ACFT, is going to join me. And we're basically waiting right now to hear from Sean about a meeting with he and Jane Freeman of Freeman Landscaping to talk about some revisions to the landscape plan. What was interesting about the landscape plan is it shows trees, what will be big trees planted right beside buildings that now have solar panels on them. So there are some revisions that need to be made. There are a number of non-native trees on that list. And I've already told Connie this, the first shrub on the shrub list is Chinese privet.
oh my.
One of the most obnoxious, aggressive, invasive non-natives there is. So there are some changes I'm going to offer on the plant list. Aaron suggested it, and Connie and I talked about making this an official project of Tree Commission and ACFT. So I'd like to offer a motion that assisting Eden Village with a tree and landscaping issue would be a project of the Tree Commission.
So anybody have a motion to?
Yeah, I'll with the motion.
All right, we have a motion out there. Any discussion?
Guys, just out of curiosity, I feel like, is this in the official capacity of the city? It could be a slippery slope. We may want to come at this from the Alliance for Trees instead of from the Tree Commission.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot. I had offered to help just me personally, and I'm fine with keeping it that way, just being a project of ACFT if y'all think there's some issue with it being an official Tree Commission project. Not going to affect my.
Well, this is Connie, and I think I know what Joe's talking about, because, you know, once you start helping, you know, one nonprofit with something that's should, you know, right in their territory on their property and all, then you open up to help other nonprofits. I don't know that that's an absolute no, but I think it probably needs to be run through the city just in case before you actually take it on as a city quote project.
Yeah. Well, with those comments in mind, I withdraw my motion. I personally will assist and might pull Kate in as well with her background.
I wanted to say, I think as part of our mission to have exotic invasives that are highly aggressive and seed in everywhere, it seems to me to be part of the mission. And if we can't do it for individual projects, perhaps we could have a list of do not plant and a list of recommended. And I know we have a short list on our website of trees recommended, selected trees recommended. But even that list to me seems, I've reviewed it again, and it's just not, to me, a very good list. And it's only 7 or 8 trees anyway. But I think it's imperative that we start educating people in our role of what plants are really not good for the environment or the habitat or the development, and what trees really do give a lot back to the environment, the habitat, and even native trees. Not all are created equal. So I think at the very least, we should develop a list for developers to use.
Kate, and well, Jim knows, we just adopted this list that Lloyd and Jim have been working on for a long time. The Alliance for Cape Fear Trees just adopted that, and it's posted on our website. So you might take a look at that for something to utilize rather than starting all over from scratch.
Good.
Yeah, I have the cover sheet of that list, and it's yeah. I mean, it's something that we definitely, to Kate's point, I mean, this is something that wherever we can get the information out, whether or not it's through the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees or whether or not it's through the Wilmington Tree Commission, we should be, putting it out there so that we have it in as many places as possible. So, I mean, to the point of what I'd like to do is, Connie, can you send us a link to that so that everybody can review, and then at the next meeting we can discuss whether or not we want to include this in within the tree commission?
Well, Jim has a copy of it. I mean, he helped create it. So, but I'd be happy to send you the list that we adopted. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. And then we as a committee can review it and then potentially adopt it too. All right. Any other discussion about the Eden Village landscaping?
I would just say that I think it would be great if the city agrees to, continue to work with that. I mean, I think that they've been a part of it to some degree. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Aaron was out there at one point helping. Seems like I remember some conversation about that. So it shouldn't necessarily be a closed door, but I would be careful about taking it on without checking with the city first. Yeah.
Yeah, I think based on, the comments I've heard, it's probably best not to try to make it an official WTC project, but I personally will certainly be putting some donated time into it, along with some folks in the ACFT. The idea would be that eventually, once a revised landscaping plan is developed and adopted, that we could pull together a group of these really experienced ACFT volunteers to help plan.
All right. So, but to that point, though, I think we should approach the city to see what their thoughts are as far as engaging in something like this. So, Craig, how do we do that?
The thing I'm hearing, sorry, I'm not answering your question.
Right.
Is, to Kate's point, education, we've got a committee that has that. And that'd be something that you've got a list of recommended things to plan, recommended things not to plan. That's a fair thing to share with every development. It's put us in.
We can't understand, Greg.
Connie, to that point, I'm just saying that from an education standpoint, the WTC, has a committee that is, for community education. So building a list that is recommended of what to plant, what not to plant would seem to be within its purview. Being involved with a specific development project is where it gets grayer and we might run into it. So I think we could move forward on that aspect of it. But if we wanted to get more on Eden Village, I can certainly bring it up to staff within the city if that's what this group would like.
Morning.
So, based upon what Craig just mentioned, anybody else have any thoughts? Should we approach the city, not approach the city? What's your thoughts? So it sounds like pretty indifferent.
Well, maybe we should wait so we decide exactly how we're gonna format it in our website and in our communications to the public, and then approach the city.
Very good idea, Kate. All right, so can we turn that over to the Education Committee? And that way the Education Committee can then develop their thoughts on the process, and with support from the Alliance for Cape Heritage Trees, native versus non-native species policy and recommended practices. We can utilize that and then decide how to proceed on the next steps. All right. So welcome, Sally.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry it's so late.
No problem, no problem. So we did skip a couple of the agenda items on number 2 and number 4 to wait for you to join us to get your thoughts on number 1, the Urban Forest Master Plan update, where that stands. Is there anything else you need from the Wilmington Tree Commission? And also just status. And then also there was in the Inflation Reduction Act, there was money set aside for, urban forest canopy, and was just wondering, I sent a tree funding article that talked a little bit about that, about how cities are looking at ways of changing the types of trees that they're using for tree canopies, but also getting money from the Inflation Reduction Act to help them do that.
All right. Whoa, sorry. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I can give you an update on the Urban Forest Master Plan. So we met with our consultant, Davey Tree Group, yesterday, and we have a pretty good draft that they are going to be putting into their formatting. It's been kind of raw until now, and staff have had an opportunity to review with them, but we're really excited to bring it to the commission. So they're anticipating having that final, not final, but the public ready draft for review the middle of February.
Okay.
So what I was anticipating, if it's good with the board, is being able to provide that to you electronically for some comment period in March, for your March meeting. What do you think about that?
Yep, that'll work.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. There's some really good recommendations, and I think that they were very thoughtful about the input that they received from you and others in the community. And I hope that you think it's a strong plan for Wilmington.
Great.
It's going to be job security for us, that's for sure. So do you have any questions about the master plan?
Know enough about it at this point to ask questions. Can you give it this sort of overview?
I should have brought a copy of, actually what I'll do is I'll pull the table of contents
Okay.
and send it along so you can get an idea of how it's structured and what the major components are.
So you send it to all the board members.
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Anybody on the phone have any questions about the master plan?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
I mean, I think, not to belabor the point, but essentially it is an overview of the program as it exists now in Wilmington. It uses a lot of benchmark cities, as well as Forest Service and other industry standard benchmarks on how urban forest programs are run in municipalities across the country. So it benchmarks the city of Wilmington against those metrics and measures. And then it has a good section on the public input and the sort of will of the community and the input that was given as part of the plan. And then it has a section of recommendations. And it's pretty exciting. I think it mirrors a lot of what you did in your retreat a few months ago, looking at education and outreach, funding strategies, policies, and compliance. So I think all of those are going to fit in well together and help us be a good team moving forward to implement the things that you've been talking about.
So does it have
Specific?
yes, specific information about financial requirements or monetary needs or anything like that, or don't you know?
There is detail around the budget that the city of Wilmington has in relation to other cities that it's been benchmarked against, and it is showing that the city of Wilmington does not invest as much as other communities. So I think that there's going to be some things for, city leadership to think about as we move forward once you've reviewed it, and we can take it to our city leadership and council.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's a little bit of a round. I didn't quite answer your question.
Right. No problem.
Not
We
as
got the drift.
satisfying as you quite want right now.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
I acknowledge that. And then your comments about the Inflation Reduction Act and the tree funding, I'm frankly not aware of it. So I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. We do have partners in the North Carolina Urban Forest Council and others. So if there's a way that we can tap into that.
Oh, definitely. And yeah.
This is Connie. The North Carolina Urban Forest Council has a lot of information about that, and so does the Arbor Day Foundation, and I have been attending meetings with both of them and about it. But there's still kind of a preface going on at this point, and so there's not a lot of hard information out, other than by February there ought to be some more information coming through, except for those who got some preliminary information already. So
Connie's got her finger on the pulse.
it's money. You have to get.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up here so that, we could, we don't lag behind and take advantage of any type of money to help improve the canopy here in Wilmington. So.
Yeah, cities will be right up there trying to get some money. So hopefully somebody is looking at it somewhere in that process.
Yeah, it'd be good to just find out who is looking at it here within Wilmington.
Right, exactly.
Well, I think we're looking at her.
So yeah. So, all right. Oh, Sally, thank you for your input. So now we're on to strategic planning committee updates. So tree ordinance and enforcement. Jim, have we?
We do not have a committee for that.
Okay.
At this point.
All right.
And I know we're talking about committees, but I wanted to talk about the tree ordinance being under threat from starting with developer, a specific developer, and then the planning commissioners going along with that developer. And I don't know what the status is of the ordinance right now, because it was with the county commissioners, and I went to that meeting and spoke at that meeting about the importance of the protection that the tree ordinance, we're talking about the same one, right?
Yep.
And
No, this city ordinance, I am more familiar with that at this point than I ever have been. I don't know. I'll go back and look at that, and I can work on that one some. But I'm quite familiar with that and at least how it's being implemented currently. Yeah.
All right. All right. So one of the to-do list is to look at getting members for the tree ordinance and enforcement committee. So I'll talk with everybody within the team, within the group, and see who's willing to step up and take the leadership role on this.
I'll volunteer to take a leadership role in that. I like that police law first work with it.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
What I've actually learned a lot about it in the process of consulting on these issues on several projects to this point. And I've got a lot of ideas about revisions that are needed.
Good. So Judd, not to put you on the spot, but you want to help Jim on that?
Jim, you can call me or text me about it any time. I don't have a ton of time for meetings right now with us just opening our new location.
Yep. Well, congratulations on the new location.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so next committee is the Resource Commitment Committee. I'm the chairman. So right now, I was waiting for Aaron to provide what resources he's looking for and how we can help Aaron get those resources. And he said that, you know, the last meeting that I attended was back in November, and he said that he's still in the budgetary phase of it. And he said that probably by the end of the year, beginning of January, he would have information on that. I will follow up with Aaron on that to see what we have, and then I'll reach out to Kathy and see how we can team together on this to try to move this forward.
Okay. Just let me know when or what I need to do to help you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Kathy. And then the Education Committee. I know that this was going to be a joint effort with Lloyd and
Take my name off.
okay.
My goal was to get the committee established and moving, but not be a part of it ongoing.
Okay.
So that's, and a couple of activities are already planned.
Right.
So my suggestion would be just to email Lloyd and get an update on, and not only on who's actually serving on the committee with you, just an update on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on that committee, but it hasn't been clear at all when they're meeting, if they're meeting, what they're doing. I've sent emails to many people, Jim and other members. I think Alana's on it. And I haven't heard back from anybody.
Okay.
It's just, I've been kind of like, where's it meeting? What's happening? What's going on? I have a lot of ideas. I was in education as an educator for 30 years about trees and environment and a field experience. So I really was excited to be on it, but I don't know. I can email Lloyd. I don't know what to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reach out to Lloyd to see where we are on it and see what we can do to get more engagement. And
Yeah, I don't mind being chair.
Yeah.
I really like being involved.
yep.
Well, I talked Lloyd into being the chair, and what Lloyd did, extension agents must submit toward the end of each calendar year, they must submit proposed work plan for the coming year.
Right.
And this education project, he actually submitted to the university as part of his 2023 work plan.
Oh, okay.
So he's committed, how much he's actually been doing in terms of activities, I'm not familiar with.
All right.
Lloyd's the person to get us up to date.
Great. Any other questions, comments on the strategic planning committees? Anybody on the phone? Thoughts?
Isn't there a class this January? Is it a landscaping class that Lloyd is doing
Yeah.
something around education?
Yes. Well, it's the Wilmington, yeah, it's Alliance for Cape Fear Trees, an extension service. And I thought Jim was involved in that. I thought, because basically that's for landscaping companies. And it's going to be Friday afternoon from 3 to 5 in the education room of the Arboretum. And I was going to include that in my report, but since you asked, I thought that the tree commission was kind of involved in that. My education committee has just kind of taken it and run with it. So I don't know a lot of the specifics and exactly how many people are signed up, but I do know that we have beer coming from Judd and some pretzels coming from Crofts to be able to encourage people to attend, to learn about proper care and planting of trees. So hopefully all of our board is invited, and I would be happy, I know, for anybody on the tree commission to attend that meeting just as well on Friday afternoon if you have time.
Is this Friday the 20th?
27th.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So,
sorry, next Friday,
7th from when to when?
3 to 5.
Thank you, Connie.
Mhm.
All right, on to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just mark that one off then. I was going to mention that, and I thought that was part of what was happening because I know Jim had been talking about it somewhat as well. So we thought there's just that was at least a good way to start educating. So many of we feel like our landscapers don't understand about trees and correct planting. I've got some actual examples of that in my yard from years ago. So I think hopefully we'll get a good turnout, and we'll get there's I think educational credits as well, if I'm not mistaken, for that through NC State. So if anybody needs them, that's another incentive to be able to come for that. So the only other thing I have is we have a planting. We have 2-3 things going on, but we have a planting in Love Grove, which is the north of the north side, and it's off of 23rd Street. The quickest access is off of 23rd, just past the movie studio to get in there. It's a Master Gardener grant, and we have maybe 36 or 37 trees that we're going to be planting in Archie Blue Park there and in the neighborhood surrounding it. So that would be on the 28th, Saturday morning. So we'd love to have some volunteers. We could certainly use them this time of the year. So appreciate it. I'm sorry, what?
What time on the 28th?
28th. We always start the planning at 9, so we'd like volunteers to get there about 8:30, quarter till. Okay.
ACFT website. Connie, do you have a species list for that planting yet?
Yes, they've been ordered from Panther Creek, and Aaron gave me the list. Panther, anyhow, so they're all natives coming from Panther Creek. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you what it is right this minute.
I just wonder if they're all native.
Yeah, I believe they all are. I mean, there's that area. I mean, I'm not swearing because, but I know they're very heavy with ball cypress and river birch, because that's a very Archie Blues down near the creek area, wetlands and area. So there are a lot of those that are well adapted to having sort of a wetter situation.
How about the sweet bay magnolia?
There are some magnolias on there. Thanks for mentioning that. That's some of the small ones. Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
moist conditions. So
I think I just found the list, Connie. Do you want me to go over it quickly?
Sure.
All right, so this is Love Grove and Archie Blue, correct? All right,
Yes.
so we've got bald cypress, the scarlet curls willow, the salix scarlet curls, Quercus macrocarpa, the bur oak, Quercus lyrata, overcup oak. I love that one.
Alrighty, yes. Acrocarpa, no.
Well, let me tell you, we're only getting 2 of those. Don't have to stress out too much. Magnolia Inspiration.
that's just we don't know which
Is
one.
that a saucer magnolia? What is that? MSTF. That must be just the
Could you email
That's
that?
cultivar. Yeah.
It's one of the smaller ones. Yeah.
Magnolia Figo Serendipity and Lorapellum. So that's
I've heard
that's a
two
non-native.
natives so far.
Non-native. American Beach, red
Beach.
Vegas grandifolia. We've got some red buds and river birch.
And he threw in some seemingly shrub-like things there.
Maybe those are flowering things for in front of the park.
It could possibly be, yes.
Yes, this is Aaron. I'm on the online. The two magnolias are not natives, but we needed some understory, and it was kind of a situation, go what we can get that will work in that particular area, because once you get away from the creek, that site is a high and dry. It is not a moist site at all once you get away from the creek.
Welcome, Aaron. Thanks for joining.
Okay, you want me to continue my report? Is there any other questions about that one?
Nope. Continue
Okay.
on.
I'm waiting to hear from Arbor Day Foundation and also International Paper about distributions. I'm trying to push hard to go ahead and get them some dates before it gets beyond prime planting time, but distributions are not as crucial because they're taken care of by individuals rather than on the streets where they have to be maintained otherwise. So I'll let you know about any distributions that are confirmed, but hopefully we'll have one or two before it gets too heavily into spring. And also we actually both Sally and Aaron have been involved in the beginnings of a volunteer corps planning process that is under a grant that has been received by the North Carolina Urban Forest Council, and Barbara Fair from NC State is involved in that process through her teaching role there. So we have started a conversation about it, and we're having another meeting fairly soon, I believe. Didn't write that date down, so maybe one of you all remember when it is. But and hopefully we'll learn more, be able to share more. But it will obviously involve a training process that will enable us to work more closely with the city about providing maintenance, doing assessments, utilizing perhaps some of the equipment there, and being trained appropriately to be able to do all those things that we feel are necessary, and hopefully something that a lot of us have been looking forward to for a long time.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Anything else? Is that it?
That's all. That's it.
Now, there's a tree giveaway this weekend, right?
That's the Tree Fest. Yes. I mean, we're a partner in that, but we're really not involved in it. We just make sure that we're not scheduling on top of each other mostly. So.
Gotcha.
Okay. Aaron's usually involved in that, so you may want to mention something, Aaron.
All right.
I'm actually not really involved in Tree Fest.
Okay. All right.
They've gotten pretty autonomous, and I'm still aware of their activities, but I don't really have much input with them. They've become a pretty well-oiled machine here the last few years, so their input from outside is minimal at best.
So who's running Tree Fest? Is it?
So it's Friday and Saturday. It's Friday and Saturday, and I don't even know if there's a name for the organization other than Tree Fest. But Amy,
it's just Tree Fest. They're the organizers, the people that run it. They're kind of a volunteer group. I think the city is still involved. If I'm not mistaken, we still hold an account for their funds as a line in the city accounts. So they have a representative with our finance department. I don't remember offhand who it is, but I believe that's still the case. So they're not a nonprofit, but their unofficial board is just completely volunteer, but it's not an official board or anything.
Okay.
I would, Amy Long with the university has been for quite a long time, and she seems to be one of the, I would say, co-chairs of it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think Amy and Carl Busick is still around and heavily involved with Tree Fest.
Right.
All right. Okay, well, Connie, thanks for the update. And also thanks for all your support from the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees. Appreciate that.
Well,
the other thing, Aaron, have you submitted your budget and to the,
It's still in process.
okay, all right, so.
Yeah,
what-
has not been
what you-
submitted yet. Still working on that, but we will pass that along as soon as we know what will be submitted.
Okay,
Sally may have a little bit more insight to that right now than I would, but as far as I know, it has not been submitted yet.
all right. Is there anything you need our help with as far as, trying to focus on any resources that are, you deem necessary or anything like that?
Just support for what we do submit.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, let's see. The last item is the proposed Wilmington Tree Commission budget. So I was, what I need your help with, Jim, is just, what some of the, costs for plaques or anything like that.
I would like to have, probably $250 in it for, heritage tree plaques. The plaque that I had made at Rags for the large live oak on the bargain box property, something like $42 or $43. It's a very good quality, metal. Well, it's an aluminum clad in, sort of long-term weatherproof vinyl and then vinyl letters, but it's designed to last in the weather for a long period of time.
Okay,
So estimated it might need as many as 5 of those. I'd certainly like to have that in the budget.
okay. Is there anything else in the budget for tree awards or anything else that, or that you'd like to?
Everything else we can sort of do in-house. Kathy mentioned the certificates for those folks, and also if we do, certainly should pursue the tree award program this year. So
Yep.
I think a certificate in that case.
Okay. So, Aaron, did the Wilmington Tree Commission take any money out of your budget to support anything that we should probably separate out?
Well, we have no line item for the tree commission, if that's what you're asking.
No, what I'm saying is, did the Tree Commission come to you and say, hey, we need money for marketing or money for-"
No, we have not, we've done that in the past, but I have not had a request from the tree commission to pay for anything in several years.
Okay, all right. Now, I'm just curious, if there was something in there that you feel should be under the Tree Commission versus your budget, just to separate that out.
No, I mean, the type of items that you were just discussing, historically, like I said, we've not had a request in several years from the tree commission to pay for anything like that, but historically, we've just, it's been fairly minor funds, and we've just taken it out of other budget lines
Okay.
within our approved budget.
Okay.
Just
So-
as needed.
Yeah, so anybody else on the Tree Commission, any thoughts on budgetary items that we should include?
Tom, this is Connie. I kept meaning to bring it up, and I don't know how official it ever became. But is when I was on the tree commission, we did an educational project, and Aaron remembers what I'm talking about, with the Azalea Garden tours and with the historic Wilmington Foundation tour of old homes during the Azalea Festival. And trees were significant trees, or trees that had some educational value, were actually selected to be recognized in each one of the gardens and each one of the historic homes if there was something there that was appropriate. We actually use signs, small signs, to be able to mark those trees, and then attached some educational, sort of laminated educational material to them. And Aaron facilitated getting some tree tags through the North Carolina Urban Forest Council that talked about the value of the trees, how much money they were saving over the years. That sort of has dropped off in the last year or so. The reason I even bring it up is because we needed to have those signs kind of, redone. And some of the, like, laminating and things like that, were part of the process that we begged and pleaded to get done free by various organizations. So I know that, that it's not, I don't think it was ever adopted. It was something that actually came up, and if I'm not mistaken, probably when, Marsha Doring was chairman, and she's still trying to get it invigorated. So I throw it out there as something you may or may not want to follow up on as part of the educational process that the commission is supposed to be doing. So, and it had money, and it had a little money. That's what made me think of it. Little money involved in getting the things done.
You know how much was it? Another 250 or 300?
Well, it was probably like it wasn't, 250 or something like that. It was probably as much as it, was. It was really just having signs redone because there was a little bit of an attrition rate. I mean, we had one sign, I think, used as a baseball bat after the tree, it was over by some of the kids who lived in the house. But, so there's a loss every year, and some people just throw them away, not realizing we're going to come back and pick them back up. So there's some loss that has to be replaced. And then the laminating and things like that were also a problem. But so I would think 250 would be more than enough to be able to take care of that if in fact you wanted to pick that up again. And I think Marsha Doring and Bill Jane have been talking about it because he usually does the historic tree process. But I don't think it was during COVID, it kind of dropped off because they didn't even have the tour. So.
Yeah, no, I fully support that. I think that'd be a great way to also get education out to the public, particularly on such a great event as the Azalea, historic Azalea house tours. Yes, I think it'd be great marketing.
I would also add some money in for just printing when you're talking about community education.
Yeah.
Whether you use it or not, just so you have some money in there if you have to go print anything to hand out as resources.
Okay.
Just in case. It's better to have it in there and not use it than not have it and have to scrounge around and find it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Anything else on budget?
How about funds for the chair to attend the annual North Carolina Urban Forestry Council Tree Conference?
Sure.
I think that's an important item.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll put some money in for that and see what happens.
What you give us a sort of a total and let's vote on it. So it'll be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll pull that together for the, we might need, I don't know when we need to submit the budget, but, probably sooner rather than later. And, if we can wait till the next meeting or.
Wait till the next meeting, is that too late?
Just they're asking generalities of timing.
It's 115.
I don't know that you have enough of a timeline to wait till your next meeting to submit anything for upcoming budget.
The city's budget process.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I meant to say there's probably need almost $500 for that if you add in gas, travel, gasoline or something. But because it's $220 some for the room, although you can probably get a cheaper room, not at the conference, but it's 200 and then like another 150 to Aaron. How much is 150 to 200 for both days? Like that.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere in that range. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. So you're looking at, $400 to $500.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So Aaron, as far as submitting the budget, when is that, when's the last budget required for submission?
I honestly don't know the timeline. I don't have it in front of me. I don't believe you have enough time to wait until your next meeting to submit anything though.
Okay.
so the budget is due internally on the 31st of January.
Okay.
I'll need to work with Craig. I don't know if it's described in your bylaws or if you typically make a budget request for the tree commission. I'm not familiar with this process. I think we'll need to work internally as staff to see what that is. Or are y'all aware of a process for that? Have you done this before?
It hasn't been done before. And
The deputy mayor, the deputy city manager suggested that we create one and give it to him.
I understand. Okay.
Yep.
Well, then I think we will just have to work through this administratively fairly quickly here.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, the request from Tom came about 3 years ago, and this is the first time they've tried to submit. So we're all kind of unfamiliar with what the process would look like.
Yeah, yep. Okay. All right, so Craig, how do we do this?
Tom, if you can do some quick calculations while we're here, we can go with a total number and then you can give me, line items and I'll submit it through the city planning side.
Okay, so just looking at it, we got 250 for tree plaque awards, 250 for Azalea Festival signage. So that's 500. I would say 500 for the Urban Forest Council meeting. And then, so that's 1,000.
Couple hundred for printing.
Another 300 for printing. So what? $1,300. Anybody have anything else? Should we go around $1,500 just to? For
Nice round number.
nice round number.
That sounds great.
Sounds good.
You have to make sure the line items fit 1,500.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. So I have a motion out there to have a budget of $1,500 for the Wilmington Tree Commission for the next fiscal year. So
Make a motion to approve.
So do I have a second? Yep, we have a second from Kate. Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we have our first budget, at least submission.
At least a submission.
Yes,
That's a step in the right direction.
so, all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time, and hopefully the new in-person / video is beneficial, and we'll continue this for our next meeting in a month from now. So thanks again for everybody. Have a great day, and look forward to seeing you at maybe one of the tree events between now and the next meeting. Take care now.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.